to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Who you with, Kirk? I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to speak on it. 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 Welcome to speak. 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 Who you with, Kirk, dog? Who you with, Kirk, dog? I'm M. Who you with, Kirk, dog? Hopefully y'all had a great day today. It's pre-skipping. Um, I know a lot of people probably sitting up, picking out greens. Some of you might be cleaning out chitlins. You definitely want to do that because you can't be having that white stuff on top. And so good luck to the ones that's eating those chitlins. Want to excuse me, everyone to the show on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, D Live is always in the house, Anchor.fm. Tonight, we're going to hit on the jury trial. They came back, found all three guilty for killing Ahmaud Arbery. Want to know how you feel about it. And let us know. You can let us know in the chat, or you can call in and let us know. How do you feel about the verdict? I feel good because justice was served. They tried to do everything they can to from allowing justice to happen by having white people on the jury and then having ours on the jury. But once you put the evidence out and leave the jury no choice but to do the right thing. So I feel like justice was served. They haven't been sentenced yet, and a date to sentence them have not been made public yet. So so that would be the next step. The prosecutor did hint around that it's going to be they're going to ask for life. I don't know if Georgia had the death penalty or not, but they said they're going to ask for life. T-Cow, welcome to the show. So, hey, Kurt, dog, it's almost Turkey Day. Yes, it is, just hours away. By my calculation, 3 hours and 56 minutes. So, it said it's about time. Is how I feel. My husband, when I was coming home, and that's the first thing that came out my mouth. It's about time. So I'm definitely glad that the jury, even though they tried to everything in their power by the selection of the jury to prevent justice from being served for Ahmaud Arbery. I'm glad that as his mother said, he can finally rest now. And then the peace that the family have now. Now, here's the key to the defense hint about doing a retrial, appealing this decision? Well, that's time and money for the simple fact. That video spoke a whole bunch, and it let people exactly what happened. So there's no way you can change any. Now it's your right to do a appeal, but unfortunately, I think it will be a waste of time. They gonna get exactly what they deserve, and life would be sure. I'm sure somewhere Big Bubba would love to have him have one of them as a roommate, and they probably plaiting his hair right now. So, uh, uh, it's interesting. I don't think they need to be in custody, because the thing is, they did not feel they needed protected custody when they killed the mom, and they shouldn't be granted protected custody and serve every day of their time thinking about what they have done. Excuse me. T. Cal said, especially after that comment made about his feet. That's another thing, for the simple fact that the defense attorney in her closing argument yesterday talked about his feet. Um, what was it yesterday? What's today? Monday. Talked about his feet, how dirty they were. That's just what other people say about black folks. They narrated, well, he been out jogging, and then he fought for his life. So you think his feet not gonna be dirty? So go back to the drawing board. Oh, all aboard. Great supporter out of Miami. Thank you for always uh, um, supporting the show. Hey, chat, and what's up, Kurt? I was waiting on this live. I'm excited. I don't know about y'all, but I can say justice was served because they did everything they could to try to get them off just by the makeup of the jury. That was enough. So that was really bad. T Cal said, I have a bad connection. I have you skipping after every other word. I don't know what's going on. My system did something crazy tonight for the simple fact that um, even the theme song, the video, wouldn't play like it normally would play. So I had to do it a different way. So I don't know what's going on. Technology today. I think we just need to go back to the old. And but then again, if we don't have internet, everything, because everything gets computerized. Um, I ran across the story from that actually. Um, let me make sure this thing don't start talking in my ear. Uh, um, said a jury Winston charged in the killing of Ahmaud Arbery, a 25-year-old black man guilty on multiple counts, as well as other charges. The verdict delivered by 9 white women, 2 white men, and 1 black man came after 11 hours of deliberation, spanning 2 days. It followed 8 days involving 23 witnesses. Arbery parents appeared alongside civil rights um, outside the courthouse following the verdict, praised the prosecution and supporter who joined the family in their fight for justice for their son, whose killing drew national attention and has a spotlight on other racial-driven crimes in the country. That each faced the same 9 counts and verdict, whereas Travis McMichael, who fatally shot Arbery is guilty of malicious murder, 4 counts of felony murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault, imprisonment, and criminal attempt to commit a felony. His father, Gregory McMichael, who rode armed in of a pickup, sound like a to me. That's how they did days. Uh, uh, Pursued Arbery is not guilty of malicious murder on the other 8 charges. And William Jr., a neighbor who joined the pursuit and filmed Arbery final moments, is guilty of 3 counts of felony murder, 1 count aggressive uh, false imprisonment, criminal intent to commit a felony. Brian was cleared on the charge of malicious murder, felony murder, aggressive assault with a firearm, and the count of aggressive assault. Um, their attorney have said they will appeal. Wanda Cooper Jones stand between Reverend Alton Center and attorney Ashley Murray outside the Wednesday, introduced by the Reverend and civil rights attorney Ashley Murray and Ben Crump, attorney Arbery parents Wanda Cooper Jones and Marcus Arbery hardly thanked the crowd. Ahmaud Arbery can peace, Cooper Jones said. I just want to say thank you guys. She said it's been a long fight. It's been a hard fight, but God is good. I never thought this day would come, but God is good. And just one, everybody, thank you. Those who marched, those who prayed. See, she later told CNN just heard it mean a lot. It mean that my prayers have been answered. It was very good with us, on the Situation Room with Blitz, to hear that the accused murderer were actually found guilty. I mean, too, she said, we finally got the justice for Ahmaud that he deserved 20. She said she always believed God would bring justice. Like I said at the beginning, God has never failed me. He never failed me, she said. And I knew that he would not begin to fail me now. So I knew that we would get a guilty verdict. I didn't know, but I knew that it would come eventually. And Marcus Arbery also gets, when he spoke outside the courtroom, I want to give glory to God because that's who made all this. Not one side did this. God put us all together to make this happen, he said. Sharpton said a prayer with the crowd and proclaimed with Mark Zell, let the word go forth all over the world that a jury of 11 whites and 1 black and the deep stood up and said, Black lives do. Let it be clear that almost 10 years after Trayvon Martin, God used Wanda and Marcus' son to prove that kept marching and kept fighting. We will make you hear us, he said. We got a lot more battles. This was an important battle today. So, congratulations to that family. I know it's not over, but it's going to be a long and hopefully they get the time that they should. Welcome to the show, Radio Chaos. I was overlooking you. I was just reading at the and didn't want to pause. So I'm glad that justice was served. And thank you, Radio, for always supporting the show. Last night was a great show. The conversation we had last night, so that was real good. T. Cal said, I'm glad she's some type of peace. Yes, it will bring closure knowing that justice have been served. Now, this is only the beginning because we don't want a situation like Amber Geiger get a slap on the wrist. They need to, they've been found guilty. They need to serve the proper time for the crime. Would be very good. Um, I don't know if Georgia have a death penalty or not. Not aware if they do or not, but um, yeah, I'm like, hey, because I think um, with the life sentence, it would be good for the simple fact it's gonna tear them up on the inside, thinking about what they done and how they peers found them guilty. Their own community found them guilty. The people that look like them found them guilty. And hopefully that would open the eyes of other people and realize you cannot do that and don't expect anything to happen. Times are changing. Yeah, I know last week we was talking about Rittenhouse and how he was found not guilty in this parade around the world, um, taking other folks and on this tour like he's a superstar. But it's just a matter of time before he get justice also. I hope the feds do pick up and charge him accordingly. Welcome to the show, Gabe. Thank you for always tuning in and being a part of the show. I know we don't always agree with each other, but it's always good to have you come. And we always have great dialogue. So uh, um, every once in a while I agree for a minute, but it's good. So I'm glad that you are here. What would they charge Rittenhouse with? Well, the thing is, they ought to charge him for stupidity, but I guess that's not a crime. So, um, but the thing is, it's just a matter of time before he do something else that's gonna get him back on the wrong side. And it's just a matter of time. He's a ticking time bomb because um, his mindset is a child mindset, uh, where he actually goes off and if you don't get his way, he react to it. So it's just a matter of time. Trust me. It's a matter of time. Welcome to the show, Keith Johnson. Said the three men are going to be held accountable for their action because the city didn't want to be responsible for another city riot. Woo! I actually said, told, told my wife last night, said, if they let them off, it's not going to be good for Georgia. Not at all. It won't be good. But I'm glad these people did the right. Now we need the sentence to be right. Needed to add up to the crime. So, but please don't take this as a victory as we still don't have to vote. No, we still need to vote for the simple fact. Um, if we don't vote, they'll get a light sentence. So we still need to do our civic duty, vote, sit on jury when we get the jury sermons and all of this. So don't think because of what happened today, we can relax and let the same leaders run us. No, we still need to change the leaders. A lot of them been quiet lately, but these leaders, they quiet because they want to forget about what they done last year, earlier this year. So they need to stay on top of them. need to make it known that we need to vote them out. We still need to vote them out. Um, yeah, jail time is definitely what they need. To be honest with you, opinion, I don't think they would. I think if not all of them, I think at least one of them probably gonna take the easy way out. That's my opinion. I think it's one gonna take the easy way out, but I'm like, hey, don't do that. You did the crime, do the time in there. You felt good about what you did, so feel good about taking the crime. But Big Bubba gonna be riding your back. I'm just saying. Um, Gabe said, "Believe me, Cal, do that again, haha, or anything like it. He gonna be set for life. He might make bad decision, and no bad decision is what's gonna hurt him in the long run." um, just like George Zimmerman, same thing he did. He killed an innocent young black man and got off, but then turned around. He still kept getting in trouble, kept doing things. So same thing. He's a ticking time bomb. It won't be long. Um, T. Cal said, "Not at all. This is just the beginning." Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, all aboard. You already know. The phone lines is open, um, so you more than welcome to. I'm not he's not the brightest, but I don't think he's going to jail. He also did nothing wrong. That's your opinion, Gabe. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion, which is that's your opinion. But let somebody uh, shoot you and you chasing them down unarmed and shot somebody. But that's your opinion, right? And you feel like ain't nothing wrong. What if that was your family member? Would you feel the same way? Would you feel the same way? Uh, so, um, so like I said, that's your opinion. The phone lines is open. If you call in, please, please do not block your number. I get way too many spam calls. So, um, want to know your opinion about it? How you feel about this verdict? Um, it, you can call in. If multiple people call in, put a limit on the phone calls because we want it's possible to call in and give their opinion. And also, I'm listening out here. Uh, Even though tomorrow is Thanksgiving, um, what are you thankful for? Um, uh, what are you thankful for? And also, what are you looking at eating tomorrow? So definitely uh, can let me know. I'll put it in the chat either way. All aboard said, let's, let's get the rules again, Kurt. Please come with facts. Don't block the number. Uh, and that's so true. Do not blur and come in with facts. And be respectful. Be respectful. My hang up game is quick and it's strong. So you can always call in and let us know. Now we can always have a dialogue, even though we may not agree with each other, but we can have a dialogue and talk about it like grown-ups and go with it like that. You have your opinion, I have my opinion. And bottom line is my show. So um so that's what we're doing tonight. I know for me, 2021 had been a rough year for me and my family. So, but um, still trust and believe in God. Everything is going to be good. Um, I'm thankful to still be here, and um, I'm glad I have a close knit people around me that is that keep me grounded, and no matter what I'm going through, they will always be there. We're always there for each other. So, and I'm thankful for, of course, my family and the circle of people that is around me, and uh, and y'all, because y'all don't understand with me doing this show. They're like, oh, he just on there talking all. I'm venting. This is therapy to me. This is clearing my mind. All the stuff that I'm holding in, I'm able to get it out. So I thank y'all because y'all are helping me. And then of course, my wife always had my back, and then Miss Risky. Y'all don't understand half of the things Miss Risky do behind the scene, and that's my little sister. So, um, so I appreciate her, and of course, my wife. I always come first. So, um, Gabe said, "I'm thankful for our country and the smart man that found." Hey, that's your opinion, and that's your opinion. That found it or stole it, but that's your opinion. And family, of course, God, family, country. Oh, God is always first in my life. Um, so definitely, I know for me, I'm gonna be sampling a lot of stuff. This will be the first year. Um, I'm not really cooking much. Um, so that's a difference too, because normally I'll be up late at night cooking, and I'm not doing that this year. So, um, but I'm glad to be here and be alive um, and go with it like that. Now, y'all don't be ashamed. You can call in, and trust me, if you call in, and anybody who have called in the past, I do not call you back. Um, I do tell you not to block your number for the simple fact the way these spam calls come across. I get tired of uh, answering call, and they tell my um, hello, your car warranty is out. No, it's not. So so definitely do that. Um, Gabe said, um, glad you here, Kurt Dog. He said, trust me, I can vouch. He doesn't like exactly. What show you live on Speak on it with who you with, Kurt Dog? Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm still kind of tired. I got to put you on speaker for people can hear you. What's going on, all aboard? How you doing tonight? Oh my goodness. I want to speak on it about Ahmaud Arbery. Okay, you had a microphone. I wish you would have been able. I was when it was going on. I was like, man, I wish you were doing a live stream. It could have went either way, but I'm so happy. Exactly. Hold that thought, because I just looked at the time. I'm gonna start another segment on Anchor.fm because I don't want you to get too deep, and then I have to cut you off. Hold on. You're a league on it with who you with, Kurt. We have all aboard on the line. Go ahead, all aboard. Go ahead and finish with your statement. No, I just wish we could have done a live stream, because if you could have heard the decibel that my body was able to produce when I
when I heard them say it live that they were guilty, man, it probably would have broke your speakers. So it may be a good thing.
Well,
Um,
I was at work at the time, and I started receiving alerts. And just so happened it was I was somewhere where a TV was located, and I looked up, and when I seen the volume wasn't up, but I seen it on. They had the capture on, and I was like, "Man, they found them all guilty." I'm like,
well, did
"Oh
you see
man."
their heads drop down once they knew they messed up? There was a moment, when each of them. I love the way the judge read the verdict. There was each moment when everyone was found guilty, and the moment it just sunk in. And that was a beautiful moment. I replayed it about 5 times. Um, Guilty. I think the father thought that he was going to get off when he got that first not guilty. And then just to see his head drop down because he taught his son racism, was an excellent racist, right? And now let's see how that works for him in the Georgia correctional facility. Let's see how that works for him.
It's not gonna go good.
Let's see.
Well,
it was justice. It was justice, but I think that it was still there was still too many barriers in between that justice, right? Because it's open and shut. And I personally feel like they should have been facing the death penalty because when you do a heinous crime, that's what's on the table in the state of Georgia, right?
yes.
I don't want to take anything off of the table. I want no mercy shown to them. Which they showed no mercy to Ahmaud, and just take care of your good old Southern justice.
Okay. Now, I did hear one reporter say now that they've been found guilty, they possibly can face hate crime now by the feds. So hopefully that comes through, and if so, um, I'm trying to see if Georgia still had a death penalty or not. Yes, they do.
They do.
Yes, they
And
that,
the government does as well.
and because of that, they could possibly still face it. So I'm hoping they do get hit with a hate crime because what this hate is no other way of putting it. It's just a matter of time. That's going to be a waiting game. It could be a year from now or longer before they actually file the charges for hate crime. But I personally feel like probably the son, and I hate to say this because I just the thought of it, I feel like the son is the weakest link out of the three of them, and he may try to take the easy road.
Oh no. I actually have a pool going with a group of who's going to do it first. I was betting on the dad, so
Hopefully, neither one of them do it. Hopefully, neither one of them do it.
Just go ahead and take their sentence, and they let justice be justice. They were upholding the law, and that was their defense. No.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of time people like that feel like upholding the law, actually violating the law. Look at January 6th. They felt like they was upholding the law, and now they asking for forgiveness. Well, I seen a video out of that where it was some part of Capitol Hill where they was trying to let the garage door down, and they prevented from coming down, spraying bear mace and all of this in there. I feel like each one of them they should treat as terrorists and give them the same charge they would give a terrorist because that's what they are, domestic terrorists. So
I agree, and we have to send a message so that we can stop these things from happening in the future. And you know what? The father of the former police officer,
yes,
even though he didn't do a lot of what he was supposed to do, so he knew what he knew the law. He knew what the punishment was. He broke the law. He did the crime, so now he needs to do the time. Hopefully, they can take it on the chin and they can go and sit in there and maybe, they can think about the afterlife and forgiveness or whatever it is they believe in, and they can just accept their punishment because they, that's what they believed in. They believed in arresting citizens and upholding the law, so the law has spoken.
yeah. Now,
The jury are their peers.
now I feel like the father may get protected custody in prison, but that's police officer, and of course you don't want him in where he's in the same block with someone that he sent there. So he probably get uh, some type of protection. But the son and the other guy, I'm like, hey, more power to you. I think I heard. I didn't hear you.
No, I'm just very happy that this is the verdict that was delivered despite all of the barriers they put in place.
Yep.
All of it. I believe that defense attorney should be disbarred. I believe what she said in her I believe was her closing statement where she didn't mention the gun the wounds on Ahmaud Arbery, but she had the nerve to mention him not wearing socks and his toenails being too long. She saw that on an autopsy photo, and this is her takeaway, right? For her to say that in open court, that was so insensitive. It was professional, and it was inhumane.
I don't think she could get disbarred for that because that's her personal opinion. And basically, what she was trying to do, hoping it triggered the jury from um, it triggered the jury to think about that old saying about black folks. They nasty, they dirty, stuff like that. That's what she was trying to indicate for when the jury are talking about it. They can say, well, uh, hopefully they will vote in the way that she wanted them to. But my hat goes off to the jury for taking a stand and not allowing that to influence them and doing the right thing. Um,
I agree.
and for the
I agree.
and for the parents to have to sit through this trial, um, with them trying to block the pastors from coming in, the comments about we don't need any more black pastors coming here, which is a slap in the face anyway, because even during slavery days, it was through hymns of the church and praying they got a lot of black folks through it, and still today. So that's no matter what they tried to do, it didn't work. It didn't
And
work.
then I will say this: the judge admonished the father for his emotional response. It's right, like of course, I'm surprised he wasn't more emotional. But I think that the judge, in that moment, I feel like he was protecting the family from them using that as a reason for an appeal. You understand?
Yeah.
And so I think the judge in that was probably trying to do things completely by the book, right? So that
True.
you don't have an opportunity to appeal, say that because they're going to try everything. You know what I mean? So I think the family should have been able to express their emotions because it's a very emotional moment, you know. But I'll say this: justice made a little bit of a step forward because I don't think anyone in that courtroom on the defendant's side thought that they were going to lose. They thought that they were going to win because they stacked the deck.
Exactly. I'm glancing through the comments. Gabe, I've told you many times before, we're not gonna be rude to anyone in the comment nor on the phone lines. So telling someone to hush, you have an opinion, they have an opinion, but no disrespect is gonna be done in the chat nor on the phone line. So I think you owe T Cal an apology. If not, like I tell you all the time, you can keep on moving. So uh, so that's the way I feel about it. Now, if you got an issue with it, we can solve that issue altogether. You'll be the number two person I block off, but trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. And yeah, that's your fair warning. No disrespect at all, because I don't have time for it. You have your opinion, and nobody is disrespecting you. So, and that's the way I see it. I don't get what you're talking about. To me, Gabe, I must have missed it. Um, the fact that he said he didn't have a problem with the decision, it wasn't clear cut as Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse just had the I hate to say it, the people rallied behind him. When you have a clown that's a president rallied behind him that support hatred, former president that support hatred, of course you're gonna have those clowns rally behind him, and then you get a racist judge to rally behind him also. So that's the problem we have. Um, but like I said, we're not gonna disrespect no one in the chat nor on the phone lines. Uh, okay.
Do you mind if I spoke on Rittenhouse since he was brought up?
Yeah,
I
yeah, you can.
Well, with Rittenhouse, here's my main concern is this. He was a young person at the time, not very young, because you know how America will try a 10-year-old or a 14-year-old as an adult, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here's the problem. I'm worried about the next few years with Rittenhouse because he was already
A menace to society.
He was already a menace. He was already breaking laws. He was his mother enabled him, you know. Because wasn't he was 17 at the time, right?
Yes. When the crime happened, he was 17.
By his mother. That was the money that his mother would have gotten for him, wasn't it?
Well, I guess he got his own stimulus. I believe he was working. So he got his own stimulus check. I'm not sure exactly if he got it or if he got the money from his mama. Either way. So.
Well, the thing is, I believe that there were more people involved. I don't believe that it was just him just going behind all of these adults' backs. I feel like they all have the same ideology. They taught it to him, just like we've seen with Travis and his father, that is passed down, that hatred. Remember, he was going there to um to um to be um to be
a security guard.
violent or
Yeah.
intimidate people during a basically a rally against the the shooting person by a police officer, I believe his name is Mr. Blake, in his back. Right, that's what he was going there for. This doesn't come out of nowhere. Right?
Mm-hmm.
All of those people, I feel, were complicit, and I feel like they taught him to be a very good liar. He was a very good liar.
Yes, he was.
He came there looking for trouble.
Now, I just thought about something that Radio mentioned last night, where and I'm hoping Gabe is still here for he can hear this, or anyone that feel that Rittenhouse did thing. Rittenhouse can be tried again. If new evidence come out, he can be tried again for the same crime. Because here it is. Last night, after the trial, they finally identified the guy that had the gun. And based upon what he has to do it, it's a good chance he could be tried again.
I think he can also be tried for the federal crime of using the straw buyer, right? He can be charged in that as well. I mean, Kodak Black went to federal prison for something similar. He was pardoned by Trump, but he went to prison for something similar. I think to allow this man to go into society with no repercussions, no mandatory counseling, right? This is going to be dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's killed people. He's killed people, and everyone is telling him that it's okay, right?
Yes. And then it opened up doors for other people to do the same thing,
right,
and feel like they could get away with it also.
It sets a precedent, and it sets a legal precedent, because someone can cite the case Rittenhouse, the state versus Rittenhouse, and they can say that even if you provoke a situation, if you're the aggressor, right, that you have the right to shoot multiple people and shoot into a crowd of innocent bystanders, and you're not guilty of that. That's ridiculous.
Exactly. That's kind of like the brother that ran the people down in Wisconsin the other day. Well, he should get life. He killed last I heard, I think the count was up to 6, and injured like 2 or something like that. He should get life.
Or death if it's on the books.
Yeah, he should. He never should have been out of jail. He tried to run. I think he attempted to run his girlfriend down or ex-girlfriend down with the same vehicle, and he was out on bail for that, out on bond for that. He should get life. He should never see a daylight. Exactly. I agree with him. Set the bond high where he can't get out, and then find him guilty. And
if that's a hate crime, then charge him with a hate crime if it is.
I think it would be. I think on that one it will be hard to prove it's a hate crime, and the only reason why, because that parade was for the public. He didn't know if it was just going to be one race there or not. It was a diverse parade, so either way he did what he did, and he should get life or the death penalty. And
rest in peace to all of those people that lost their lives. There were children, there were elderly people that were there to entertain, the crowd. It was a beautiful celebration, and the details. But those people's lives, and he should be held accountable.
Exactly. He need to be held accountable. Now he didn't enter a plea because when he found out that the child had passed away, he started to cry.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, that's what the news said the other day. He started to weep once he found out the child died, but he never should have done it. I don't know if he was.
And I also don't know if it was a situation where she was fleeing, but it seems intentional. But we're gonna have to see what the evidence shows. And we don't know his mental state. Of course, that's going to be called into question.
Well, one police officer did say he looked him straight in the eyes as he was passing by, and he looked like it was intentional. He had every intention to run over people. So it depends on what the court say. These are our opinion, but this guy, what he done,
I don't think he should be on the street.
I don't think he should either, because he will do something else. He definitely will. I wanted to address something. Keith, if you're still in the chat, definitely let me know. Let me know if you're still in the chat. He put up a message earlier. He said, "A trueness of a blessing, but losing my mom and several relatives has been a rough one. I was invited to fellowship with the NAACP president, Longview Chapter 6197, have opened their doors to have a great time in memories. Keith Johnson, JP 2022. Keith, I know you go back and listen to the shows. I feel you on that. I mentioned last night at the end of the show, for me, it's this is a difficult time for me, for the simple fact I just lost my mother in February, and uh, this will be I've mentioned on the show quite a bit. Sometimes things happen in my life. First person I normally call is my mom. Well, I'm unable to call her now. And during the holidays, I always will call, be like, "Hey, mom, what's on the menu?" Something like that. And we'll talk about it. And I'll tell her what I'm cooking. And I guess this year I'm just haven't been in the mood to really get into it. And I didn't realize that until yesterday. I was talking to J Mull and on my way home, and he was like, "Man, what y'all doing for Thanksgiving?" I said, "Be honest with you, I haven't even thought that far." So I understand what you're going through. It's definitely a hard thing to deal with it. And uh, a lot of people are struggling right now with lost loved ones. And that's why I said, we here for you. We are family. Regardless if we agree or not, all of us are family on this show. So prayers going out to you and your family as well. But
and I second that. Amen. And prayers going out to everyone that has lost a loved one. This is going to be the first time for a lot of people where they haven't had their loved one. My condolences go out to all of you and to you as well, because it's not easy. And take your time, do what you can do, and when you can't, we understand. We'll be here.
Oh yeah, I thank God for my counselor because with them it make a difference. Unfortunately, um, due to the holidays, they're off this week, so I'm kind of weaning it by myself. But if it gets bad, I always have access, no matter what. So they did tell me.
Didn't you have a service that you were recommending earlier in the year? I believe you had something
for counseling.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, if someone is struggling um, is struggling with mental health, if you work, go to your HR, ask about the EAP program, Employee Assistance Program. They may say, oh, no, we don't have that. According to the counselor, every employer have it, especially during the trying time that we're in now. You could go to your HR, ask about it. They can provide counseling for you for free. And what'll happen, not just for you, but also your kids, your spouse, also, or your domestic partner, depends on what's going on. So you could get counseling for free. So definitely take advantage. Don't be afraid or ashamed to ask for help. For me, um, and this is what we have to do to break this cycle, because in the Black community, we would always say, I don't want to go to counseling and have people all up in my business. But I been going since uh, 2018, and trust me, it works. The first couple of sessions I went, I just looked at them. They asked me a question, I gave them a short answer. But I was going through so much because I had just recently got out the hospital, nearly died from an infection. So I was mad at the world. I was pissed. But once they broke that change, and I started to open up, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't mind telling people I go to counseling. It helps. It helps. So definitely take advantage of it. EAP program, employee assistance program. Um, ask your HR about it, and you can get counseling, especially times like this where we're still in a pandemic. Don't forget, we're still in a pandemic. Um, I think 140,000 kids caught the virus last week. So we're still in a pandemic. So you still need to protect yourself. Jack Kramer, thank you for supporting the show. Said it's okay to support Cal, and also Arbery. The conviction of Arbery killer proves that Cal's self-defense claim wasn't nonsense. Um, yeah, but you got to look at the fact, if he would not have to defend himself if he was at home past curfew, and if he did not have access to an illegal weapon. That knock out the self-defense claim, because if he wasn't there, it wouldn't happen. He wouldn't need self-defense. But I appreciate your opinion. That's your opinion, and we'll accept everybody's opinion. I'm okay with it. Go ahead, all aboard. I'm
I
sorry.
wanted to say, just for that last topic that we were talking about the mental health. If you try and you don't feel a connection to your therapist or your doctor, don't be afraid to try for a new one. Don't give up on it and think that it just doesn't work, because I can speak on that as well. Um, if you find a person that you trust, it is very helpful. So don't be afraid, and don't think that if you had a bad experience in the past that you can't go back and find um, help from a therapist. Sometimes it's a connection.
Exactly. And definitely a connection. Stand by. I need to start this other segment. Hold on. Um, oh, You are listening to Speak On It with Who You With Kurt Dog. I'm Al, Who You With Kurt Dog. We're on the line with All Aboard out of Miami, Florida. Yay. I need to get to Miami. Go lay up on a beach in my Speedos. Uh, but we are talking about the Ahmaud Arbery case, and also Cal Rittenhouse, and also Thanksgiving. Talking about counseling too, which next month we will have a counselor on the show. We're still working out the dates. As soon as I find out, I would definitely let y'all know ahead of time. And hopefully, y'all come in and be a part of that show. For the simple fact, this is a time to uh, be able to talk out whatever you're going through. Ask counselor questions, and if you're in the DFW area, that's Dallas Fort Worth area, um, and you need a counselor here, reach out to me. I can guide you in the right place. Not only that, the counselor have said in the past on the show, and regardless of what area you in, if you need help finding a counselor, they will find a counselor in your area. But one thing about it, if you take counseling, the only way it will work, you have to be honest. You have to be honest of what you're feeling, what you're going through, um, your mind thought, and they can provide the right counseling for you. Now, don't get it twisted. When you talk about going to counseling, it do not mean you're going to be medicated. It do not mean you have to spend time in a psych hospital or anything like that. These counselor will help guide you to make the right decision. They will provide the tools for you, um, for you can make your life a little easier. So it take works. You gotta work. You gotta be open. Best thing you can work is being honest with them. And if you never seen one of our counselors on the show, go back to anchor.fm. You can listen to the shows on there. You can go to YouTube, look up the old shows with counseling. We talk about different type of things that people deal with in life. One show we did was uh, I think it was titled "Losing a Loved One in a Pandemic" or something like that. Malicious parent syndrome. So definitely go back and check them out on YouTube and go from there. Um, Jack said the weapon was legal. The prosecutor agreed to drop the charge. They agreed to drop it, but I think all that was premeditated. But also that weapon was not legal for Cal to have it because his friend bought that weapon for Cal. It never should have been purchased for a child in someone else's name. So that's why I say that weapon was illegal because Cal never should have had that weapon.
He
Um,
was not allowed. He was not. Kyle was not allowed. That Kyle was not allowed to possess that weapon outside of the presence of a guardian or a person who was over 18. He did extensive research, him and his friend, to be able to know these loopholes to this law. So that's why I say this is dangerous because he actively circumvented the rules. He went around the rules. And let's not stop there. He also didn't immediately call the police. He didn't turn himself in. He didn't take any of those steps. He went home, right? He crossed the state line. They took him home. He needs to see some sort of punishment, right? Because if not, there is a very good chance that he will be more of a menace to society. He was already a menace. But if he's not, I think he should have done at least the time that it would take for like a gun charge, which would have been like 5 years at least. Otherwise, he got to play Call of Duty with human lives and come home as a martyr, as a spokesperson for the extremists, you know.
exactly. As a hero, as so-called hero. Now the thing
Exactly.
is, the argument about welcome to the show, Barack, number 44 NYC. Um, he said Cal got away with murder. Um, and then Jack said he had a loaded gun in his face. Well, like the prosecutor said in the trial, he could have easily shot Cal from 20 feet away without approaching him. But the guy at least approached him. And he had his gun pointed down, not at Cal. Cal took it in his own hands to shoot him. Now, the fact that the argument between a long gun and this is pole in the law, because it's one thing to say a long gun, but when you have a assault rifle that can spit um, multiple bullets at a time, that's a difference. A long gun, a shotgun, a single shot rifle, and that law needs to be changed because that's a loophole that share. They just call it a long gun. Now take it that that judge at the beginning, as long as he been sitting on that bench, he didn't know the law for that. Now every judge, they have a reference guide, people to research things to for he can make sure he make the right decision. And he waited until the day before, or was it the day of the jury got the case? Waited right before the jury got the case to throw the charge. For he didn't know the law on that, so that's a loophole. Um, so radio said the guy wearing yellow pants in one of the video asked Cal now he was promoting furs when earlier he had pointed his rifle at him. So that's why I said that's new evidence. And based upon this guy's testimony, they could possibly retrial him because they should.
And couldn't the federal government take it up as well? Because, um, bringing the gun across state lines, that is federal. I want them to pursue that. Because if it were anyone else, they would pursue it. It's captured on film. They need to pursue his actions before that. Because I don't believe he should have even shot the first guy. Listen, I don't believe that state is a stand your ground state where you don't have the duty to retreat. But if it is, he definitely he knew that the guy that was being the aggressor, Rosenberg, I believe, was his name, or Rosen. I don't misquote me on his name, but the initial person he shot, that person was being aggressive. He was, he was hyped up on whatever. But I don't feel like there was a threat to Kyle's life. The man was literally saying for Kyle to kill him, right? There was no reason for him to even raise that gun and aim it at his head or chest. What was his? I don't get how he was able to get away with that part. I hope radio can explain that.
Well, from what radio said last, the guy in the yellow pants, I think was vandalizing a car or something, and Cal pointed his weapon at him. Now, here's the key. Uh, Based upon whatever this guy tell the investigators, I feel it's a possibility he could be tried again, do evidence. Now, as for the loaded gun in his face, like the prosecutor, he could have shot you from 10 to 20 feet away, but instead he walked up to you. Now, take it, he had already killed the first guy. And basically, it sounded like they just wanted him to be able to just do whatever and leave. He had shot and killed someone.
People in the crowd, there were people in the crowd as well that had nothing to do with it. He, at the very least, he didn't watch his back stop. So, he was aiming a high-powered a high caliber rifle towards innocent people. He should at least get charged with that, no? Like with,
Yeah, he could possibly get charged with something, but also you got to look at it also like this, because with him, it's going to be a matter of time before he do something. Uh, Before he do something crazy. And the attitude he have now, I think is going to be a train wreck. Jack Kramer said it was illegal for Cal to have it. It was a long gun. The law applies to short barrel weapons. It's a loophole that need to change. However, the law must be applied as written. And that's why, say, I'm just not reading his comment. And that's why I said it was a loophole
but
earlier.
no,
I didn't
that's
even.
not true. It is not illegal for him to um have an AR-15 or a long gun.
Well, a long gun, a AR-15 is a long gun, but you know they have competition where kids can carry a rifle. Well, not a shotgun, but a rifle. Because a shotgun to blow a kid over, but a rifle, uh, you can do that here in Texas. I know.
In the presence of a guardian he can't just go off on his own with it. That's the whole point. He can be in the presence of
No,
a guardian
because
or in a person over 18.
in certain areas, it's different rules for everyone. In every state, it's different rules. Now, some some people, if it's in a rural area, that's just common for kids to carry a rifle. They go out and play in the woods. They see a snake. They gotta take care of that snake, or the snake take care of them. So it's.
When you fact check it and look it up, well, you know how we do it real time.
Oh yeah.
I believe in this state, they said that he has to be in the presence of an adult. I don't know if it was guardian or just a person over 18.
And he wasn't.
Had to be with him, and he wasn't. He was
and then also when they interviewed him on the news, that anchor interviewed him. He said he wanted to be famous. Well, guess what? You are famous, but for all the wrong reason. Um, Barack hashtag 44 NYC said premeditated murder. I, I feel like it was. He wanted to. He been playing Call of Duty all this time, and now he can actually do it in real life. Radio said, then why did the judge refuse to toss it when the defense filed the motion in pretrial hearing to dismiss the weapon charge? Doesn't make sense. Exactly. Jack Kramer said because the proper argument was raised during trial, not during the pretrial argument. Um, it was the same argument by the defense both times. Um, then it's a good thing it was raised the second time, according to Jack Kramer. Try shooting a moving target from 20 feet away with a 9mm Glock. Not easy, Gage. Had to advance to aim, and he did. No, he was within feet in front of him. And actually Cal had a trip. So he could have easily done it. Put like this. If you able to carry a gun, you should be trained enough uh, to be able to if it come to it, you should be trained enough where you can uh, have to hit a moving target. Um, trust. Don't bring up Call of Duty. That has nothing to do with this. He wasn't imitating a game. People play Call of Duty and don't shoot anyone. Plenty of people shoot people and don't play Call of Duty. That's true. That's true. But mm, not. I don't know. I don't know. Cal. It's a possibility. He could have played Call of Duty, or was amused by it and felt like, hey, let me go out here and do it. I don't know.
Well, don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming the video game.
Exactly.
I'm saying that people and aiming at people with an AR-15 close range, that is not reasonable behavior. An argument could be made that after the group was chasing him, maybe he was in fear for his life then. An argument can be made about that. But to say that he did nothing wrong is ridiculous. He came there looking for violence. And one thing I'll say about him as well, I believe his mother was in the police department, or she worked with the police department in some capacity. For him to be a teenager and to be able to lie that well, even to train lawyers, is kind of impressive. The way that he was coached to say he pointed an AR-15 at someone's head, but he wasn't intending on killing that person. That's amazing. He had some very good coaching, and frankly, I feel like we're gonna see something else from this guy.
Well, not only that, he also he made a choice because he lied and said he was an EMT, which we know that was a lie. But he also did not provide help for neither one of the victims. Instead, he made a phone call to his friend. So uh, Jack Kramer said in Call of Duty, you use strategy and aim without getting hit. You don't wait for someone to advance to kill. I've actually had played Call of Duty. I forgot which version it is, but it's one of the early version, which I think I finished the game in a day. So maybe it's more to it, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. Um,
It definitely teaches tactics.
yeah, and because so many people is uh, the violence in it, because that's why at one point they was trying to get games like that removed because of the violence inside of it. And then on top of that, with some people, they live for that. They actually want to live for that. That's why we have so many gun violence. I'm not saying all people that do gun violence live for that, but the ones that go out and shoot up mass people, they get that vision from somewhere. And unfortunately, that's why I've been an argument for years about video games. In Grand Theft Auto, you can beat up hookers. How many teenagers are beating up hookers? Don't We won't say hookers, but some of them probably beating up their girlfriend. Matter of fact, Cal beat up a girl before he ended up shooting. Before he even ended up shooting these gentlemen. So yes, it can influence you in what you have to do, what you feed inside your mind. Eventually, if you see it enough, you're gonna react to it. You will react to it. So yeah, Grand Theft Auto. Uh, yeah, they have you beating up hooker or whatever. I couldn't really get into that one either. I'm a pole position type of fella. Back old school. Um, so then radio said, judging by the cocky attitude Cal is displaying in the interview since the trial, it seemed he has not learned anything. He loved the attention and think he's really somebody now.
I mean, he was pretty much a school shooter without having to be a school shooter. I'm sure that wasn't his first time thinking about committing a violent act. Listen, when you were 17, were you thinking about getting your first AR-15, before it was legal for you to get it? Was that on your mind with your stimulus check, or what do you want? Some cool shoes, maybe get a little car. Are you going to be? Is that what your focus would be at that age? Is to go and get an aim and go protect property that wasn't yours? Would that be your concern?
It wasn't mine, because I can't say on this platform what I was doing at 17, but with guns.
I can imagine. I
Uh,
can imagine.
so, but definitely, what you watch and what you do, it can stimulate your mind to want to do it in real life. It definitely can. Now, Cal is on this tour going around. Matter of fact, I got a message earlier about him and Trump taking a picture together. So I'm like, yeah. Jack said in the video when he hit a girl, it appeared he is defending the girl who was hit by another girl. Well, first of all,
Get him, Kurt Dog.
first of all, that's a situation between two females. He walked up behind that chick and hit her. He didn't go to her face because she probably would have whooped his ass. But he walked up behind her and hit her because she was arguing with another young lady. Now, I didn't see where the other young lady hit the young lady. I um, just seen where it was the fact that these two young ladies was sitting here arguing. Cal come up from behind and sucker punch this chick. So that's not. It's two young ladies. Let them do what they gonna do. If anything, he should have been since he want to put himself in that position. He should have been saying, "Hey, y'all need to talk this out. Be the peacemaker instead of instigating a little bit more." If a female was beating your girlfriend, would you just sit there and watch? Well, I'm gonna tell you an incident that happened. Um, my wife and I, we was out one night back before pandemic. We was playing free poker here locally, and I left the table, and someone had something to say, and um, the somebody said something about me. Now I've always been very private. My wife asked the woman not to talk about me because that's her husband. Woman said she didn't care. Well, my wife and her had some words, and her boyfriend gonna stand up, and I told him you need to sit your ass down because that's between those two women. You get involved, I'm gonna have to get involved. This ain't what you want. So he sat his tall ass down and sat over there like a little kid. And they had their words. We got up and left. So the thing is, if it's two women, that's between them. Now, if somebody just come up and attack my wife, that's completely different. Now, my person. So if she been physically attacked, that's different. In that video with Cal Rittenhouse, that young lady was physically attacked. Her and this young lady was talking, Cal and hit the woman from behind. Matter of fact, the guys also said if he get involved, I'm gonna have to get out, and that's when the video cut off when Cal actually hit the woman from behind. So
And he didn't just hit her. He didn't just push her. He was physically fighting her.
yeah, he came up and sucker punched her.
He sucker punched her, and he got a few wild swings in. He's unstable, and this is no different from any of these violent teen vigilantes. You know, he the way that he attacked that, I believe she was a girl. She's a child. I don't think she was.
Yeah, they was at school. And to be honest with you, it probably was over some old pissy tail boy. I said, to be honest with you, it probably was over some old pissy tail boy. They probably was fighting over some boy.
Well, I don't think he could have with that fight, he was going to do anything. He should have said over there, and he could have refused it. Or if there's gonna be a fight, like do that little Heisman thing that strong arm can do. You don't have to molly whopper.
Well, the thing is, a radio put up said it was his sister, and she put her hands on the girl first. She started the fight, so apparently that's some bad parenting going on.
Right. This is some ghetto stuff going on in Wisconsin or wherever they are. It's ghetto.
So Jack said then he said he was misguided. Yes, Cal is a dummy teenager. You are a grown man with life experience. Maybe the law should change so dummy teenagers can't access guns. I would support that raise the age. However, under today's law, Cal is innocent.
He's innocent. So that's the thing. We can't really say too much. Here's my concern. What if he becomes a police officer? I believe I'm going to make a prediction, Kurt Dog. Some police department, because he was interested in being a police officer in the past and in the military in the past. Those are his interests. I believe some police department from over there where they are is going to offer him a job. Because at this point, he doesn't have a record, right?
Yeah, I guess in a sense he don't have one, but he would have to change his name and his attitude. But
no, some people would embrace that. Some racist people have taken on Cal as their patron saint. They love him.
Radio hold on. Radio said then the four guys who filmed it got out the car and started laying the boots to Cal. More people started to notice what was going on, so they took off. See, I just knew the video I seen. I heard the guy say, if he go up there and hit that chick, I'm gonna get out. And when he hit her, he got out and the video stopped. So it must be another video out of it. And either way, Cal needs some help. Hopefully he gets some counseling. His mama gets some counseling. And his sister, because it seemed like the whole damn family got anger issue.
She's taking him out to get drinks and stuff. When he really needs to be going to a doctor, his mother is taking him to go to a bar. I think that's like, look at the mother. Your son killed people. He's facing a trial, and you think it's appropriate, even if it's legal in your state. You think it's appropriate. Get him in custody.
Hey,
as a mother.
Shit, he probably been drinking alcohol since he was a baby, allegedly. Let me start this other segment. You're listening on it with Who You With Kurt Dell. We're talking live with all aboard on the phone line. We're talking about Cal Rittenhouse. Man, this is an interesting conversation. Go ahead and finish what you were saying, all aboard. Uh, yeah, I think I personally feel that it's a lot of misguidance going on, kind of like what Jack Kramer said, the deal with Cal Rittenhouse. Um, I feel that sometimes you can spoil a child where they feel like they are untouchable. They can get away with anything because they allegedly got away with it throughout their life and they never been told no. And because of that, this is the situation with Cal now. And when his mother even, I think it was radio mentioned last night when they was in the police station and his mother said something, instead of her trying to encourage him, uh, she got excited about the fact that he was being called a racist and all of this stuff online. She enjoyed the fact that the attention that he was getting. So it sounded like to me they allegedly are uh, attention whores, um, because some people do things to get attention for themselves instead of being as Jack Kramer said about uh, Grand Theft Auto beating up a hooker on the game, instead of being a hooker. Some people have a it's a hole for attention. They will get attention by any means necessary, no matter what. And unfortunately,
I mean, he was all in that camera.
exactly. So from what I'm saying is basically he's trying to get more attention. That's why he's on this tour, this victory tour, this alleged semi victory tour, because he's gonna say something, he's gonna do something that's gonna open this case back up, and it's just a matter of time. Um, Radio said if Cal should have learned how fast things can change when you involve yourself in a fight, he was lucky though. Guys didn't go to town on him. Exactly. Kudos to the girl though. She took Cal best punch and was still standing. That tells you a lot. That's why he punched it from behind, because I feel like if he would have punched it from the front, it would have been a whole different video. As all the boys said, Cal would have got mollywopped.
Now listen to this though. This is something that hasn't been said, and I don't want to offend anyone. But in the famous words of I won't say that. In the famous words of certain people, where are the fathers? Because I noticed a lack of representation from his father. Has anyone thought about that? Like, where's his dad? What happened?
I have no idea. I haven't heard anything about his dad. Um, The only one I've ever heard about is his mom. Now, I don't know the situation. I don't know if dad's still living. I don't know if he's in jail, deceased. I don't know. I
We need to know because anytime something happens in other communities, the father's question is present. I need to know where is Mr. Rittenhouse, or if that's his last name, or if he has a different last name.
well, it could
Find out where his father is.
it could be one of those issues where it could be a malicious parent syndrome, where
That's possible too.
where the father was forced to stay out of his life. I don't know. I don't know. These are all alleged, so I don't know.
Well, we
But
need to get to the bottom of it because um, this man has a problem, and in the black community, whenever anyone does anything, we always want to get to know. They're gonna put out their school records. If you ever stole anything as a elementary school student, I need to know more about Kyle Rittenhouse.
okay.
And I feel like that's
Uh,
I'd like to know. Maybe.
well, let me say this. Jack did say abusers are abusers, plain and simple. It's not the game making them that way. Well, I'm a, I'm gonna say this, Jack. Very well respected preacher, pastor that I know, he was preaching one time. He made a good point, and I live by this. Okay, if you get up in the morning listening to gangster rap, you're setting the tone of your day. You setting your attitude, and he encouraged people when you get up in the morning, listen to something that's gonna lift your spirit and not keep it down. So with the video games, people play video games, and if you constantly playing this video game, constantly over and over again, well, guess what? It's going to become a reality in your mind that you can do these things. So it's not that the game itself is saying, "Hey, go do this," but it's what feeding your mind, and that's what I feel that happened with a lot of people because they feed their mind on violence all the time, and that's what happened. Kind of like, for instance, uh, Olive Board mentioned earlier about the Mac Michaels about being raised in racism, and racism today, and when you see teenagers having racist thoughts, it's because what they was taught in the household. Their mind is trained to think another race is against them, and they will do hatred toward them. So anything that we say, think, or whatever, before it come out your mouth, it's thought about in your mind. If you do the same thing over and over again, it's gonna play out in the world. And that's what I'm talking about when it come down to the video game. Nothing against the video game. Some people do not know how to separate a video game, a movie from reality. So
Well, and
that's
also, Kurt, sorry.
that's hold on. Let me get to radio comment, because radio also mentioned the father's. The word is the father moved to Michigan. Maybe that's why no one saw him during the trial. So that's what the word on the street is about the father. He's in Michigan. Um,
So
and
he's alive.
Yes. And Jack Kramer said, I love GTA, Call of Duty, Gangster Rap, never committed a crime. It's fiction, fun, art, my consuming more compressed and strong family upbringing. That's for you. That's for you. And you're right. Every once in a while, I love some old school rap. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love the blues. But my first choice of music is gospel. So the thing is, that's great for you because you have a foundation of what you was, the more that you was brought up on. Some people don't have those same upbringing. Some people is taught certain ways, and that works for you. That works for me. But I never had the idea, if I go out here and listen to gangster rap, I'm gonna go out here and bang bang shoot them up. No, uh, I don't think like that because I don't feed that into my mind all the time. Now, if I start to listen to gangster rap, which unfortunately a lot of rap today I can't get into. I listen to rap that had a meaning. So yes, it's a different. Everybody don't have that same upbringing as you and I have had. So that's the difference between the two. Everybody don't have that strong mindset and able to separate the two. And that's unfortunately that's the point where we are in life. Um, Take said, well said and great point. Arbery should have been armed. Oh, he would have gotten off with self defense like Cal, and rightfully so.
Maybe not. I don't know. We don't know. I
I,
mean, they
I,
were
I
alive.
don't know because certain states, self defense for some people, not the same for others. Look at the young lady, I believe it was in Florida. Her husband, her estranged ex husband, had came and abused her, broke into her home, and she fired a warning shot, and she got charged.
Eventually, she was able to, she was released after like public outcry. She was charged for that.
Yeah,
But I wanted to just one.
and she had a restraining order. But go ahead with
Yeah,
what you was going to say earlier too.
I was gonna say that here's the thing. So if we know the father wasn't present, we say that he wasn't causing the actual damage. So I'm gonna blame the mother. So she seems to be a toxic, nasty person. Because my son just killed two people and wounded another. Potentially could have killed more. If his aim worked out, I'm not taking him to a bar. My teenage son. Are you? Taking him to church, counseling. I don't know. But I'm not taking him to a bar. They also went to a bar as soon as he was declared not guilty. Guess where he went? A bar. So I'm gonna blame that mother. And what I will say is, we're not gonna say video games alone, but video games definitely teach tactics. They teach you how to reload. Like so many school killers, school shooters, learned the military training tactics like strategic reloading, where when you're before your mag is empty, you're gonna like reload it, right? Like they literally learn that from playing the video game.
Yeah.
They do. So you can't say that video games play no part. It doesn't happen to everyone. Not everyone is a psychotic nut, but he clearly shows signs of being violent and impulsive and a criminal. So that's what we need to have stricter gun laws. And I'm a firm believer of my Second Amendment rights, but he should never have had a gun in his hand.
I agree with you. Now, Jack said my issue is that people are making the cow case about race. Rosenberg and misappropriating the N word, how black people use it as a term of endearment. How is that not insane? Well, first of all, um, I don't believe in using that word. Um, Now, if I'm reading the story, I may say it then because that's what's in the story. But just to call out in this, in that, I don't do that because my thing, I'm going to encourage people, and being called the N word is not good because here it is. Um, I think it was, I, I have history. I think it was back in 98, 99. Went to a local convenience store around the corner from my apartment at the time. Walked in. It was a young um, Chinese child or Asian child with his father. And first thing he said when he seen me, "Look, that is a black man." And I looked at the child and I looked at his father and I said, "I'd have slapped the shit out of you, but I'm gonna let you make it." Um, because the thing is, that's showing me that um, that that father was teaching his child about what he assumed that the black community is about. Every black person is not criminal. Every black person is not mean and hateful. But at the same time, we need to break that cycle in all race and make a point to get to know each other. I could go anywhere and I can meet somebody and have a conversation with them. It doesn't make a difference what color you are. It's about the conversation we're having. And unfortunately, everybody can't do that because they don't want to take the time to get to know someone different than them. So when it come down to Rosenberg, yeah, it was some issues there. The reason why they was chasing him at first, I don't know why, but at the same time, it all lead back to the fact Cal never should have been there. You sent the child to do a grown up job. And as for the case about race, if I bring up race, it's about the fact that if Cal was black and those victims were black, it would not have been the same outcome. That's why we preparing for a show now to tell the different crimes between black laws and white laws, to highlight those, because it's a big difference based up on the color of your skin. It's definitely a big difference. Think about it. Amber Geiger. If Amber Geiger was black and Bolton Jones was white, and she went into the wrong apartment and shot that man sitting on his couch eating ice cream, do you think she would have got 10 years? Hell no. It's a big difference. So,
like you just said, a black woman shot her estranged husband with she had a restraining order against in her own home.
Yeah.
After he beat her, and she got 20. So we know that won't happen.
It's a difference.
Texas and Florida have similar laws.
Yeah, they do, because we have the same type of government. Radio said the answer always seemed to be more guns would solve things and make everyone safer. So you should go jogging arm now. Um, I'm not gonna say that, but uh, you have to do what you have to do to protect yourself. Because here it is, it's a lot of crazy people out here. And just here in Dallas, it was a young lady she was either jogging or on a walking trail. Either way, it was on a trail. I don't know if she was jogging or walking, but a guy came up behind her, raped her on that trail. So having a weapon with you, if you have a way to secure that weapon while you're doing it, I have no issue with it, because you have to protect yourself. And when I heard that, I'm like, whoa, she's out here running, walking the trail or whatever, and some guy raped her. And when they found him, he needed to be held to the full intent issue of the law. It needed to be held accountable for it. And first,
one thing, Kurt, I think we need to get away from assuming that when you say that we're speaking about all men or all women or all white people. I don't know where that theory came from, but we're talking about the criminal element.
yes,
We don't want criminals in the black community as much as anyone else. We don't want that. We don't want criminals in general. It is not a race thing as far as crime. I believe most people want all the criminals off of the street so we can exist peacefully. All the violent people, lock them up. But what we're saying is the law is not being applied equally, right? There's no way you can tell me Kyle Rittenhouse didn't do something wrong that day.
exactly.
He broke curfew.
So Jack Kramer, he said, no, it's a hypocrite. Critical. Cal wasn't about race. If Arbery was, I would pray he would have come out alive instead of those guys. There's no other way of putting how um, the difference between the two. Cal wanted to be famous, so he didn't care how he became famous. Amari jogging through a neighborhood that he jogged through before. He just stopped to look at a house that was being built. Have you ever gone into a new subdivision, see a house being built? Oh, let me go see how this house look on the inside. See what type of design it is. They know he didn't steal anything. He didn't have anything in his hand. But these guys come out because he was in their neighborhood. They come out and uh, chased him down and killed him. Kind of like, for instance, it was a young lady over in Arlington. and I forgot her name, here locally, Arlington, Texas. She moved to this particular neighborhood, and people wrote the N word, all spray painted N word on her garage. Uh, I want to say on her cars, harassed this woman, all because the color of her skin. And this happened probably, time going by so quick, this probably about 10 years ago. But it's like, why? Because somebody moved to your neighborhood? You want to harass this person? But not even 10 years ago, up in I think it was Little M, um, up in Denton County. This was earlier this year. A neighbor harassing this black woman just moved to the neighborhood, wrote N word on her house, passing by singing the N word, N word, N word song that was caught on videotape, until Smash the Topic, shout out to Smash the Topic, always in the street, um, until he was reached and they brought attention to it before the police did anything about it. And this was just this year. So that's the problem we have. Get over it. People are doing better. People are moving away from the hood and trying to live a good life. But at the same time, when you do that, you're having to deal with racism in 2021.
And here's the thing, white people, I don't know if that's, I don't want to be controversial on your stream, but I'll correct that. People are moving from the suburbs when they originally had their flight, when they went to the suburbs. They're moving back into cities, and they're being welcomed. I don't see the same backlash about. I don't see them being attacked when they're going into the hood of Brooklyn or Harlem and and buying property and moving in. They're not being lynched. They're not being chased. They just live there. And we need to stop. We really need to stop with the hatred, because there are so many places in America where that still exists. And until we confront Arbery and all these situations.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I talked about it on the show. I think it was earlier this month, or maybe it was the end of last month, in a local town, local city here in Texas that is south of Dallas, Midlothian, Texas. A young man at a high school went off and went on a rant talking about all the black folks moving to Midlothian and all of this. Well, guess what? Where did he learn all that from? You should be happy that the city is diverse, but instead you going off on social media or whatever, talking about N word this, N word that, and all these. Really? See, that's taught at home. We need to break that cycle and stop teaching hate. Start teaching to love one another. That will make this world a much better place.
Well, Mr. McDaniel got his son a life sentence in prison because of the things he taught him. And I wonder if he realizes that. Like, yeah, he killed Ahmaud, right? And they thought it was a joke, and they thought they were going to get away with it. Now, his family is going to be suffering. I'm sure his wife isn't going to be able to pay their bills unless, those weirdos go do a GoFundMe or something like that. But he destroyed his own son's life based off of his hatred. Because who knows? Ahmaud Arbery could have been a person who would have helped him. There's so many instances when you can think you can misjudge a person, and that person can actually be a very good friend, a person who may help you. You never know. living in hatred, it really leaves you at a disadvantage because we're all human and we all need each other in this lifetime, in this world. Like, we're a community.
Exactly. Everybody have to have everybody back. That's like in the community I live in now. It's a very diverse community, but uh, everybody. I've talked to my neighbors, and uh, we exchanged phone numbers and told each other if you ever need anything, hit me up. So the thing is, we understand the time that we're in. Now, what they say behind my back, because I'm not gonna lie. One of my neighbors, when I first met him, um, well, not him, but his father-in-law, um, is a mixed couple, and his father-in-law. When I first met the father-in-law, I had on my a shirt I made that said, just in case you don't know, Black Lives Matter too. And it's in a black shirt with orange letters. So you can't miss it. And just so happened I was coming home and my neighbor speaking to me. I went over, spoke, and his father in law focused on my shirt. But at the same time, he realized that, yeah, it's a statement. Black lives do matter too. But at the same time, he respect me, I respect him. We talked, we laughed, had a good time, and I came, walked on in my house. So, but
And we can have the conversation. You can have a conversation, but it has to be respectful.
exactly,
Say when you call in.
exactly,
Respectful, come with that.
most definitely. I'm a read this comment that radio did, but let me start another segment. Hold on. Um, You're listening to Speak On It with Who You With, Kurt Doug. If you are listening on any platform, please take the time to like, share, subscribe, tell a person, tell a friend. We are live and you can live chat with us. I've been chatting with Jack Kramer, Radio Chaos. Um, and also on the phone line, we have all aboard out of Miami. Radio is out of Canada. I don't know where Jack is from, but we're having a conversation about the Cal Rittenhouse, the Ahmaud Arbery, and also several other incidents that goes on in the world. So, radio actually put in the chat where Cal took a bunch of selfie flashing the OK sign with a bunch of people in the bar, a sign that is now associated with white supremacy in some circles. He did it in every picture, in every picture. So um, that tells you a lot. We see what he believed in. We see exactly what he believed in. Um, Jack Kramer said, I support Black Lives Matter, but not the BLM organization. There is a need to highlight the Black community struggles. Unfortunately, the right fails to recognize that. I wish they would understand. So, how can you support Black Lives Matter, but not the organization? Please explain that to me because um, and I don't want to assume nothing, but you got to realize with the Black Lives Matter organization, when the protests go on, everybody that comes out is not supporting Black Lives Matter at all. They dare to make Black Lives Matter look bad. So please, I don't want to assume nothing. So if you could just explain the reason why you don't support the Black Lives Matter organization. I don't want to
I
assume.
have another question.
Okay.
Because it wasn't just Black Lives Matter. Whenever there's been a pro-Black group, tell me one that is doing what. Not you. I'm talking to the comments there. But his name is Jack.
No, I know. I know.
Which pro-Black um organization do you support? Because it seems as if whenever Black people protest, there's a backlash. Before Black Lives Matter, it was something else, you know. And
Black Panther,
what do
NAACP,
Black people need to do? Because they didn't like Martin Luther King in the moment.
Dr.
They
King.
didn't like Marcus. They didn't like Dr. King. They didn't like Malcolm X. Which how do we appeal to the white people who are on the street about Black
It's
rights?
it's a lot of people don't like
How do we
Minister Louis Farrakhan. Um, it's a lot of people don't like me, but it's okay.
Right. They don't like you either. So if Jack could give me some pointers, how do we make you comfortable about Black existence?
That's a good question. How can we make people comfortable to be a part of it? Jack said, "Look at Portland. A bunch of Millennium White BLM supported burned down the city." See, Jack, that's what I just said. Everybody who is there, they say they part of BLM, but they not for the cause. Just because they at a Black Lives Matter protest does not mean they there for the cause. Uh, which one are which one are you talking about? Because there's a lot of comments came in. Um, so they not there for the cause. That's what I'm saying. Now the BLM organization,
And yeah, they're not there for the cause. A lot of people go like during the day, because I've actually protested in Ferguson when that was going down. During the day, it is peaceful. And believe it or not, the majority of protests don't end in violence, but there are a certain amount of people who do come to protest because it's fun, because they want to break stuff and they want to steal. You can't associate the whole movement with that. Just like I can't say all white people are KKK.
true.
You know, you can't do that. That's just ignorant. But how would they suggest that people demonstrate? Because they demonstrated in suits and ties. Me personally, I'm not gonna get bit by no dog or hit with no water hose. So if that is the way that they think protests should be done, I'm completely against that. I mean, they don't like the militia movement. What is it? The Don't F Around
Yeah.
coalition? They don't like them either. So I don't know in what way. Instead of focusing on them, focus on the KKK, who's strictly about hate.
And they don't like peaceful protest either. Look at Charlotte, the organization that put together the Charlottesville protest when it was a peaceful protest. They just got sued for 25 million. That came out, I believe it was yesterday. So that organization, it was a peaceful protest, but they showed up to do a counter protest and they attacked people, which one person ended up losing her life because someone ran through the crowd and hit several people with a car. So the thing is, yeah, it's definitely a difference, which is unfortunately is always going to be counter protest. And it's okay to counter protest, but do it peacefully. Do it peacefully. Don't cause problem. Anybody that go out there and destroy people property, they need to be held accountable, regardless of who it
I
is.
don't agree I don't agree with the violence. I think it's tragic that people lost their lives in any of these protests, but people lost their businesses and property. Um, we don't need to do that, but you can't blame the whole movement
True.
for a select few. You can't.
You definitely can't do that because it's always going to be a bad apple show up somewhere. And
well, just a little sidetrack. Sorry to cut you off. There's a little sidetrack. There was that group of Native Americans the water protectors. They were in, I believe, in one of the Dakotas, North Dakota, or something like that, and they were protesting a pipeline that was going to go to their sacred land, and and it was an oil pipeline. They were sprayed with high pressure hoses, tear gas, all kinds of stuff in the dead of winter. Elderly people, children, they were all out there protesting. Why were they met with violence? Because none of them were being violent. It sounds to me that the status quo doesn't want to change and that the people are protecting it. That's what it sounds like to me.
It was all about money. That's all it is. How that pipeline go through their land, it's about money.
They weren't burning down anything. They didn't burn down anything. And they still got hit with hoses. And the only people I've seen that can actually protest are the white supremacists in this country. I haven't seen anyone else be able to get away with it.
So Jack Kramer said a couple of things. The BLM name is tainted from people like me who see the news. If you want to be heard by people not in the movement, perhaps change it. Call it believe or something clever. Cut the fat. So now, Jack, please correct me if I'm wrong. With that statement that you made, sound like you have an issue with the name itself, Black Lives Matter, and that's an issue that a lot of people have. And then what they actually did, that's when they came with Back the Blue organization after the Black Lives Matter organization, and then we seen firsthand how they were saying Back the Blue become January 6th, Capitol Hill riot, terrorist attack, domestic terrorist attack. They didn't give a damn about back in the blue. They didn't. They attacked the blue. So
with the American flag.
Exactly. And talking about hanging our ex vice president that was the sitting vice president at the time, putting nooses out. So the thing is, it's not about the name, and that some people get kicked on the name, but Black lives do matter. And people wanted to say, well, all lives matter. You should say all lives matter. All lives cannot matter until Black lives matter. So it's not about, I'm just talking about your statement, saying it's tainted from people like me who see the news. If you want to be heard by people not in the movement, perhaps change it, call it believe or something clever. But why? The movement is we're bringing attention that Black lives do matter also. Because as long as we have people out here that is stuck in their old ways, doing attacking Black people, you're saying that Black lives don't matter. Well, Black Lives Matter movement is saying, yes, Black lives do matter. And we want people to understand and represent that Black lives do matter also. You're not the only race that is here, but Black Lives Matter are here also. And we have to bring attention to keep the police from killing us in a modern day lynching like it was back in the old days when the Klansmen would come around and kill Black folks, take their land or take their women or whatever it was. They would do that. So in 2020 and from 2021 back to about 10 years or so, it been so many Black lives killed by policemen, unarmed killing that was done, that was no justice was done for it. So when this situation with Ahmaud Arbery happened, yes, this is a victory for Black lives because now we need to be able to take it and make sure we hold anybody that does this type of stuff with Black lives, that we as a people would not stand for it. Not just Black people, but all people need to take a stand about this, for the simple fact people focus so much on the name and not what it's about. Just like Colin Kaepernick, when they focus on the point that he was kneeling and not about the unjust that was going on in this world, you want to make it seem like he's disrespecting the flag. It didn't have anything to do with the flag at all. But people gonna make their own movement and say, oh, he's disrespecting the flag. What's disrespecting the flag is the fact that people put on bathing suits, have flags hanging on the back of their vehicles. Uh, uh, that's disrespecting the flag. Why don't you go and search the history of ways of disrespecting the flags? Because people don't understand. When you have those bandanas around around your face as American flag, that's disrespected. It never should be disrespected. When the NFL come out and have that flag laying long ways and they holding it, that flag should never lay flat. So the thing is, that's disrespecting the flag. Now, people go off on the names of things instead of looking at the reason why the name is like that. That's why I said in your comment, you saying call it believe or something clever. What's clever about Black lives being lost by a police officer? Unarmed Black lives are being lost. What's clever about that? It ain't a damn thing clever about that, for the simple fact it's too many of them that have happened in this United States of America, and it continued to happen, and history would not repeat itself. So the thing is, you cannot say change the name to make it clever. Make what clever? The thing is bringing attention of the unjust killing of Black Americans here in the United States. And people get pissed off about the name, but you shouldn't get pissed off. If anything, you should join the movement and say, hey, let's make a change. Let's teach people not to be hateful toward other race just because of the color of their skin. Let's go out and support all race. But instead, we have a leader that is sitting in office today. As soon as someone attacked the Asian community at the Spars in Atlanta, within days, they signed the Asia Hate Bill. But here it is, for over 400 years, Black folks still been trying to get justice and be treated equally. But here it is. That doesn't matter to him. That's why I would not support him again, nor support her. So the thing is, we need to get some leaders to have a backbone that's going to stand up on it and say, you know what? We need to treat everybody equal. In the Pledge of Allegiance, say equal for all. Where's equal for everybody? It's not none. But you want to focus on the name and say make it clever.
No, listen, it is clever. If it weren't clever, so many people would have adopted the same, literally the same phrase. Native lives matter, Asian lives matter, rural lives matter. So it has to be clever because you remember it. So please, that sounds like some hate, honestly. Because if it wasn't clever, it wouldn't have caught on. You wouldn't be triggered by it. So I beg to differ. I think it is clever. And what I want us to do is to is to is to get away from the things that happened in the past. We're hating people for no reason. You have no reason to hate black people. Black people aren't doing nothing to you, right? This is hatred that's passed down through generations, and you're holding on to hatred instead of progressing and using that part of your brain for something valuable. The way being triggered by the word black is psychological. That is not natural or normal. I'm not triggered by the word Asian. I'm not triggered by any other word. So that should not cause a visceral reaction to where you want to get on the internet and make it a part of your day to combat. Like that's kind of insane to me.
Well,
Black lives do matter.
Jack gonna say the name isn't the problem, the destruction attached to it by Antifa is the problem. Rebrand. So you telling me I need to rebrand my black beautiful skin? Because people gonna look at me and automatically assume the worst of me just because the color of my skin. And that's a problem that we have in America because as soon as you see the book itself, they automatically judge the book by its cover. And it shouldn't be like that. So you talking about rebrand? Rebrand the Black Lives.
It's not a branding issue. We are human beings. This is not a game or a joke. People are losing their lives, and that's kind of dehumanizing to say that it's a branding issue. So we have to, because black people have been branded many times. No, Negro, N word. Like what generation of black people will be acceptable to mainstream society?
He said get rid of the mayhem, call it something new, Black Lives Forever, even. Don't take it out of context. I guess don't take it out of context. I'm saying rebrand the name so that people are more willing to listen. People are not willing to listen because it say Black Lives Matter. That's showing their hatred ways for the simple fact because it say Black Lives. Well, when they say Blue Lives Matter, we don't complain. When they say All Lives Matter, we don't complain. Even though those organizations only got started because of Black Lives Matter. So,
Kurt, I'm sorry, because this is just very interesting to me. You've heard of like the Black Power movement with the fists in the air? How creative do you want black people to be? Is my question. Because literally all the protest chant for every other race is just using the same chant that black people make up. It really is like no justice, no peace. That's literally a black thing. Black power, and then you have white power. So I beg you guys to be more creative and clever because to me it sounds like you're the copycat.
and then kind of look at it like this back in the old days Black Panther. They had an issue with that because they called themselves the Black Panthers. It been many of times where they have bombed neighborhoods because of black organizations because they took a stand against the unjust that was going on. Um, I could tell you that I know many on the right that aren't as open minded as me, who hear BLM and think rise that need to change. The others in BLM are drawn out by the young. Well, the thing is, I've been to protests. I've done it when they came to our church last year. Um, Back to Blue said it was one thing, but ended up being something different. Ended up being a Black to Blue rally. At least they attempted it. Some of them had Trump 2020 flags on their trucks. Some of them even said Trump 2020. I believe it was allegedly said some of them wanted to have a barbecue there. But when the word got out, they had to clear out. It wasn't going down like that. So the thing is, don't get stuck on the name. Look at the reason for the name. Black Lives Matter. Yes, it do. Black lives do matter. All lives matter, but black lives are the ones that are being taken by policemen. Unarmed black lives are being taken. That's the
And if
reason why
Jack
that
is not,
organization started.
if Jack is not on other channels where the KKK and all those racists are running rampant and they're being racist, if you're over here, um, which you're welcome to be, as you're welcome. But if you feel like this is addressing the problem instead of addressing the racism, I question your motive because everyone over here, we're not racist. We're not against blue lives. You know, we're for justice. We're for fairness and equality. And so, if this is where you're focusing your energy, telling us to change, why don't you tell the KKK to change? Those hate groups. You can't go in any YouTube comment section that has anything to do with Black people without so many trolls, so much violence, threats. That's where we need you to work and use your voice. And I'll also say this: how can you help Black lives if you don't support Black Lives Matter? That's what he asked, right?
Yeah. He mentioned something about that about 20 or 30 comments before.
Okay, I have a solution. Go on your phone, go to your Cash App, and put hashtag I am who, the letter U, with Kirk dog. And that is one way that you can help. And you'll be able to get this good content, this education, and be a part of the show and also help Black lives. And then you can do your part without supporting an organization that doesn't have a catchy name. There you go.
Exactly.
On
And,
the channel.
and we will put it to use. But all seriousness, don't get stuck on the name. It's a name to bring attention to what's going on in America. That's what it is. And it done exactly what it's supposed to do. Bring attention to the unjust killing of unarmed Black people, Sandra Bland, Trayvon Martin, so many of them to name. The list is long, and it's wrong that we have to point this out. Um, but the problem is, he said, "That's my point. It's just the name. What the name show is the problem." No, you taking minds out of content. It's a name that's showing the problem. Because if it wasn't the fact that people, unarmed Black people, was being killed by the police, that organization never would have started. But because of the unarmed killing by the police, that's what birthed that organization. So don't try to take what I'm saying about it's just a name. It's a name to bring attention to the problem that we have in America. And it served its justice, and it's going to continue to serve its justice, but for the simple fact, Black lives do matter. Until people realize that, it's always going to be a problem. It will bring a problem. The elders are out there, but the elders, guess what? They not out there marching no more. They probably doing stuff behind the scene. But at the same time, you have to want to change. You have to look past the name and figure out, why did this organization name themselves this? Why did they call it Black Lives Matter? What's the reason behind it? What's the reason behind it? And until you realize the true meaning behind it, it's always going to be a problem. It will be a problem. And just like with Kaepernick, when he kneeled, it had nothing to do with the flag. Matter of fact, it was a soldier told him, "Why don't you kneel?" Why don't you kneel? It
He
will bring more
yep, he was
attention.
sitting down at first. He sat down, and a soldier told him to kneel, that would be a, a respectful way to protest, and he listened. So we can't keep pushing the goalposts. We can't keep moving the goalposts.
Now, I'm a bring this up real quick because Jack, I noticed that you mentioned the news quite a bit. What the news show, what the news talk about when it's dealing with BLM and all of this. Well, Jack, I don't know where you're located, what state you're in, or anything like that, but in any city when it's dealing with the black community, they're going to highlight it much more. Here locally in Dallas, if I walk in a room and I see, based up on the reporter, I can tell you what that story is about. I can tell you who that story, what race of person that story is about by the reporter. You should never be able to tell that. We know if it's a black reporter, it's something dealing with black folks. If it's dealing with somebody white, it's going to be a white reporter. Not unless the white person just basically did something out crazy, they may put a black reporter on it. But when it's dealing with black people, they always put a black reporter on it. Shouldn't be like that.
And
I'm
then,
just stand by.
if it's an Asian, or like it's gonna be this. We need to stop being so close minded, and seeing each other in such narrow, and like with such narrow lenses. Like, and they're not always covering the good feel good stories about black people. They're showing violence all the time. You know how many black businesses there are, how many people who are giving back to their communities. They're not showing that. They're showing violence, right? And because it gets you, because that's what the consumer wants to see. That even though there's a epidemic of opioid overdoses and drug addiction in other communities, let's just talk about the shooting over here on whatever side of town. Like, we're not focusing on where we're focusing all of our negative attention into one area. We need to be able to focus on the broader problem so we can actually find solutions. But that's why you have states like Kansas and Tennessee, where they're some of the poorest states in our country, but they always vote against their best interest. They are like the flyover states, but they're voting for people who don't care about them at all, because they can blame their problems on the black people. Like, at least I'm not a black person. That's literally the selling point for some of these politicians. Is, at least I'm not a black person.
Exactly.
That's what I see.
And he said the message of BLM need to get out, but people hear BLM is shut down because of the reloading of Antifa. The point I'm trying to make is cut Antifa the left of all of it. Antifa is not being invited. They come as supporters of BLM. You cannot stop people from coming out to protest, and you don't know who they are. They showing up for the cause, but they part of the other organization that is causing the problems. So that's what people don't realize. That's why I said earlier, you have to separate the two. You don't know who's with BLM. You don't know who's with Antifa. You don't know. But because it's a BLM organization that putting on the protest, they get the bad rap. Just like if someone showed up at a pro-Trump rally and caused problem, guess what? Pro-Trump rally gonna get the rap. That's all to it.
I'm sure there were some people that weren't even participating in storming the Capitol. They might have just showed up just to see what Trump was talking about, but they got lumped in with that whole group of people storming the Capitol. You know, hopefully they didn't have to like face charges or whatever. But they're not responsible for people breaking the law. You're only responsible for what you do in this life.
Exactly.
BLM cannot be held responsible for the rest of the people that break the law.
Exactly. Now, I understand you late. I don't know if you already left, but I appreciate you for tuning on. No, you did not offend me, but I want you to understand the difference between the reason why BLM started in the first place, because that's the misunderstanding that a lot of people have when it come down to BLM. They think BLM is all about black folks, but what that organization or any organization that is for good meaning, it has a good result for everybody. But because of the name of it, some people get offended by the name Black Lives Matter. Well, it wouldn't have been called Black Lives Matter if Black Lives wasn't taken. Unarmed Black lives wasn't taken by the police, and that's what people have to realize. That's the whole reason why that organization started, because it was way too many black people being killed by the police in the 20th century. So it had nothing to do with anything else. It wanted to bring attention to the issue in America. And some people still have issues with that, which, as for you, because of the comment you made earlier, I feel like you still have an issue with the fact that um, the organization is called Black Lives Matter, but not looking at the whole story and the reason why that organization is called Black Lives Matter. Because if Black Lives matter, and if everybody lives do matter, we would not have policemen killing unarmed black people. Kind of like last night, I talked about the incident at Little M School, where the student had an organized protest of alleged sexual assault that happened within the school system. But it was two black kids that was tased by the police. They was pointed out by the police. It's wrong. It's wrong. All lives should matter. But until Black Lives Matter, all lives cannot matter. Uh, okay, I'm glad you're still here. I don't have a problem with the name. I'm just trying to help get your message out to people whose ears are otherwise closed. And I appreciate that. That's the only thing I'm saying about Black Lives Matter. That organization was started because of the unjust killing of unarmed black people in America. That need to stop. That need to stop. And not only with um, the police, but even this Ahmaud Arbery killing. It never should have happened. That's because people look at black lives and feel like it's not worth anything. But black lives are worth just as much as anybody else's life. And what people don't realize, when it get to that point, when you take the last breath out of your body and your judgment day come, you're gonna be held accountable for it. That's why I try to love everybody, regardless if they hate me or not. I'm still gonna show them respect. Not unless they disrespect me, then that's a different story. But I'm still gonna show them respect, and I'm gonna have a conversation with them if they like to. But the thing is, you cannot treat someone different just because the color of their skin. That's wrong. We need to stop teaching our kids how to hate other race. That's where it started in the home. In the home. Because unfortunately, a lot of these kids start being taught about hatred from the time they are born. I was never taught that. I was always taught to respect everyone, everybody, regardless of the color of their skin. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
If you, and here's another thing, like with Amber Geiger and with McDaniel, if they would have understood that Black Lives Matter, then their lives would also matter. Because now Amber is doing her little bit of time. I think she deserves way more. You know, but I'm happy to know that she's in there begging for appeals and she wants out, and I'm happy to deny it every time. But then now the McDaniels, if they would have respected Ahmaud Arbery's Black life, they would have been able to have their own freedom. So it's really just it's an oxymoron. If you can't see that Black lives matter, you know, you may end up in prison with a
True.
life sentence because you didn't respect someone else's life. I wouldn't want to go to prison for nobody else, you know, for no reason.
True.
So that's their punishment. And the thing is, it took weeks for them to even be charged. If it wasn't for the resilience of organizations like Black Lives Matter and others, they wouldn't have even been held to accountability if it wasn't for the help and strength of the Black community and also, you know, the strength of his family. They would have been sitting there, happy as a clam, posting racist things online that they were doing before. They wouldn't have received justice if it were not for Black Lives Matter, or they even brought up the black pastors being in the courtroom. If they didn't have the support of attorneys like Ben Crump and the other people that get involved, this would be swept under the rug.
It's so true.
Don't hate the messenger.
And I'm like this. I wish if we would, if we was all colorblind, it wouldn't be no uh, racism in the world. Well, I say that, but it wouldn't be the racism by the color of your skin if we all was colorblind. But people is so messed up in the head, they probably would start talking about having issues about people's size. Or you taller than me, you smaller than me, or whatever. They will cause issues with everything. But the thing is, we're all in this struggle together, the struggle of life. Um, that's a problem. Now, you talked about the the opium um, crisis that's going on, and Trump did sign a bill to help prevent it, to provide help for them, and all of that. But what about the crack crisis that been going on since the 80s? What about that? How about getting help for people to get off crack? And at one
Well,
point,
if they would have learned from that, there wouldn't have been an opioid crisis. But you know, they what are they saying? Like basically they take their nose off to spite their face. Like if you learn from the lessons of the past, you won't have to go through it again.
yes, now here's another thing. Up until I forgot how many years it been, it haven't been that long. Um, People was getting more time for crack cocaine than they was for cocaine. But in order to make crack cocaine, you gotta have cocaine. And people getting more time for crack cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
And who did that affect mostly?
The black community, the mainly the black community.
I'm just saying. That's what you gotta look at. You can look at the fact that, yeah, it's a great thing to offer people help instead of putting them in jail, offering them help to get off these drugs. But
Mm-hmm.
you only doing it for one particular uh, group of people and not for everybody.
Well, when it affects their own children and their own families, like even Joe Biden, his son struggles with drug addiction. He
Yes.
passed some tough mandatory minimum drug laws. He was a big supporter of those, those laws where they lock people up for life for, for crack, a smaller amount of, um, the unfair drug laws. Joe Biden was a part of that as well, and it's cool because he has a son. Why isn't your son in jail? Why hasn't he been in prison? You know, if you we have to apply the same across the board.
Across the board.
It can't be about your money or your skin.
It got to be equal. Have to be equal. Man, this has been a great 2 nights. I don't know. I just looked at the time. I'm like, whoa, we've been on here for almost 2 hours and 45 minutes.
You're on a roll.
This has been a great time. And the thing is, one thing about this show, everybody have their own opinion. I may not agree with it, but when comments are made about um, changing names because it brought attention to what was going on in America and what's still going on, it brought attention to it, and people get offended by a name. You shouldn't get offended by the name. You should get offended the the reason why that name was established, the reason behind it. That's where we need to come together and say, you know what, this need to stop. We need to hold these cops accountable. We need to hold people that do crimes accountable because at the end of the day, we're all in this together because it's stressful. We have to stick together and come together. Please stop teaching race to your kids. And it's mighty funny how people use the thing of a name Black Lives Matter as a race issue, um, but then they don't want to teach about the real history of America. They call it critical race theory. Well, the critical race theory, please explain to me what that means because the thing is, you should want to teach about the history of America just like the history of your family. That should be taught to your kids. And people get upset that they don't want the true history of America taught, but it needs taught for the simple fact if not taught, it would die with us. And we need to keep it going for maybe they can come on one accord and change the course of that. But as long as they bring up talking about critical race theory and teaching their kids about hatred, well, guess what? We will never be better than where it could be 100 years from now. It would never be the difference.
All that hatred. We don't have to carry the hatred from people. We weren't alive during that time. They like to say that. So we don't need to keep their ideologies and their hatred. Let that go.
but it's still
It's a
happening
problem,
today.
right? And because they're carrying on things that were passed down, ignorance and racism. It's okay that your parents lied to you. You know, I'm sure I just wish that he didn't listen to his father when his father told him to get in that truck, you know, and go chase down a black man. I'm sure they all wish they didn't jump in that situation when they did. But it's okay to let go of that hatred and take yourself. Okay. It's okay to progress.
Well, I know we could go on for on and on and on about this, but my eyes are getting heavy. I've been up. I've been up since 4:45 this morning. Went to sleep late, so I think I went to sleep about 1:30 last night. Um,
You
so
were up last night because I saw you on pretty late.
well, I
Last night,
normally
I saw you.
schedule the replay. I schedule the replay. Once I get off the air tonight, I'll schedule it for 1 a.m. But I scheduled that ahead of time. But um, I'm planning on sleeping in tomorrow. I don't know. Um,
Well, listen, I know it's a hard time because it's the holidays, and I just want to tell you that I appreciate all that you do. You don't have to do this, and if you haven't touched anyone else, um, you've touched me, and I really appreciate your information and your encouragement. You're doing something um, that I think is putting out positive vibrations in this world, and I appreciate you. So hopefully you get to get some
well,
fine mac and cheese, whatever your thing is.
well, I definitely appreciate you all aboard and all the listeners because without y'all, I'm nobody. Um, I'm absolutely
I don't
nobody,
believe that. I
and
don't believe that at all.
I'm just a, a kid that just speaking what's going on in the world. That's it. And I definitely appreciate everyone that always tune in, regardless if you chat in the chat or not. It's okay. Um, hopefully, it can help someone and take the knowledge that what we're going through, what we've gone through in our history, we can change the direction that we are going in. And one way of doing it is getting stricter laws to have people held accountable for their actions. So all aboard. I I appreciate you. You and radio both because I think radio was on like the same length at the time last night. So I appreciate y'all and I really do. Um, I'm gonna come on tomorrow. I think I'm gonna do it earlier in the day because my wife gave me some information earlier. But I think I'm gonna come on probably around noonish, between noon and 3, uh, uh, because I want to talk to people that is during this time. Yeah, that is struggling with the loss of loved ones, and we're gonna talk about folks' food too. Who food you're gonna eat, who
Oh,
food you're not gonna eat. Uh, so,
oh yeah.
because I know for me personally, I, I love to eat, but I won't eat everybody food.
You don't
So,
like that potato salad with the
what
my potato salad with the raisins?
Shh. uh, let's just say we had a pot lunch last week at work, and the guy talked about bringing potato salad with raisin, and I said, man, you must save your money, keep it at home, don't bring it up here because
You need to be
you're gonna take
fired.
it back home. Yeah. So now I don't do potato salad with raisin in it. Somebody brought up uh, what is that comedian name? I forgot his name. I watch his videos all the time, but said he starts hitting the potato salad because somebody brought raisin in it, and he thought it
Oh,
was
so it's
roaches.
roasted.
Huh?
Yep, yep. Yeah, I would have thought the same thing. Like, whoa, whoa.
Mm. Be
Those
like, I
roaches
know
is
I
not
seen that
roaches.
thing move. Mm-mm.
Hey, listen, Thanksgiving is not the holiday to try new things.
Sure not. If
It's
you
not. Just keep it traditional.
if you know you cannot cook, bring
Mm-mm.
paper plates, forks, drinks, even the rolls. Don't try to cook them. Just bring some of those brown and
Yeah, just
syrup
bring the
rolls.
just bring the Hawaiian rolls.
Either one
Just
of
bring
them.
them. You don't, that's it. Just bring it. And forks are always necessary. Aluminum foil. Aluminum foil is always needed.
I just bought some more today. And matter of fact, some good strong plates. Don't go to the the dollar stores and get these thin plastic plates that you put a roll on it that bends. No, get some good strong plates that's gonna
So
hold.
happy.
Exactly, because you gotta have some good plates that you don't
You
have to
can't
try
cook.
to balance everything. Uh, but yeah, but
If you can't cook, you can always clean. Don't be afraid to go in there and help the people who cook. Clean those dishes. Pick up some stuff. But
well,
either way, I want everyone to enjoy their Thanksgiving. I hope I get to talk to you guys soon. And I'm definitely tuning in tomorrow.
oh, most definitely, and also everybody. Maybe it's just my family. A lot of people they'll come and eat, but when it's time to clean, they tiptoe out. Um,
Mm-mm.
yeah, but
With plates, with them thin plates they brought, with
sh-
those thin plates about stacked about 3 high, and they tiptoe right out.
yep. But hey, I enjoyed y'all. I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping. I'm gonna just put it out there. I'm sleeping. But
Okay.
I appreciate you all aboard. I will be coming on tomorrow. I'm gonna do a day show. It's been a while since I've done a day show. So we'll do
Okay.
a day show tomorrow for because I know Friday is gonna be a nightmare. Gotta go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna turn in early tomorrow. Um so I'm gonna do a day show tomorrow. Not sure what time. I will put the alert out at least an hour before and give you
We'll be
time to
there.
get on. So I
We'll
appreciate you
be
all
there.
aboard. Thank you, Jack, Radio Chaos, T Cal, Barack, hashtag 44NYC, everyone that tuned in. Gabe, can't forget about Gabe. Um, I appreciate all of y'all for tuning in. If I miss your name, trust me, it wasn't on purpose. It's a lot of people that came in and trying to go back up to see them all. It's a lot of comments that came in. Um, Keith Johnson. So definitely until tomorrow, I'll let you know what time. I love each and every one of you. Until then, have a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe.